Guys, what's the craziest thing that's happened in the boys' locker room that most girls wouldn't understand? We had electric hand dryers and Axe body spray. If you block the intake of the dryer, the heating elements get really hot because of the lack of airflow and start to glow bright orange. Then, if you take your hand away and immediately spray Axe into the intake, a massive ball of fire shoots out the exit of the dryer. The fireball is bigger if you spray more cans at once. Chased each other with a huge we found in a bag in a forest nearby. Guy has 3 testicles. No one believes him. He shows everyone in the locker room his 3 testicles. Except me because I came in late. Never have I been more disappointed to not see a man's testicles. A guy in our high school took one of those wind-up disposable cameras, removed the flash, attached 2 spikes to the electrical ports and started stabbing and tazzing people in the locker room. Had an all-day sport assessment, so every boy in my year was in the boys' locker room. Good idea to start with. Between assessments we were told to just wait in there. 5 minutes passed and next thing we knew the teacher walked in on 2 guys lighting each other's pubes on fire and putting each other out by humping each other, whilst everyone watched. Not sure if the girls were doing that. 2 men of culture, I see. As a girl, I didn't witness this one, but our gym teacher told us about it. All the boys in my gym class collectively smeared the entire locker room with deodorant. Every wall, every surface. I've always wondered what was going through their heads that made them all decide to do that. The plan was to set fire to it, obviously. Playing baseball in the showers, with a ping-pong ball, and a very large a fat kid called another small kid gay, bullying him. Basically the small kid then proceeded to go to the back, pick up the changing room hoover and then chased after the fat kid trying to suck on his man tits. It was a good day till Mr. Hooves came in. After every PE lesson someone would stand against the shower wall and everyone else would throw the shoes at them. It went through the register who would stand against the wall. Don't remember how it started, but it went on from year 8 through to year 11. My teammates and I poured shampoo on the tiles and had a contest to see who could belly side the farthest. I fought my friend in the locker room. Didn't last too long before the coach walked in, but it was a pretty fight. At my school you got expelled for fighting, so when the coach came in we both said it was an accident. The coach could tell it wasn't, but he just went with our story. And we were back to being friends after the fight. We covered ourselves and the floor entirely in soap and then all did the belly penguin slide across the room in turns, while the others were screaming like cavemen at the contestants. The one who got the furthest won. The shower pee bombs. Only possible for those with foreskin, as is normal in Sweden. Close up with your foreskin and pee until your foreskin can't hold it anymore and it blows. What? Is it possible to learn this power? Not from a circumcised. 3 things. 1. The trash locker. 2. The collective destruction of slightly bent lockers. 3. Axe bombs. Just this week, kids somehow snuck a dead rat from the biology room, stuck it in a bag for a few days, then threw it into the locker room while people were changing. Similarly, a kid in my PE class put a pint of chocolate milk in his locker on the first day of school. On the last day, he took it into the locker room, opened it, and left it under one of the benches. There was a stench when everyone got back from PE class that day, but no one could tell where it was coming from. Then someone in their haste kicked it over while changing. You never saw a locker room clear out so fast. Letting out the loudest, longest, nastiest, melt the paint off the walls fart and getting compliments and asking what the hell you ate so the others could try to recreate it. I had a stomach ache all day in high school. Got on the bus after school. Everyone boarded as usual. I sat right behind the driver and usually bullshitted with him. Right before we pulled out I let out the smallest, quietest fart. Within seconds my eyes start burning. A few seconds later you could hear the audible gasping and see people cover their noses. A few seconds later windows started opening in the middle of winter and kids started hanging their heads out. Bus driver yells flag on the play. Flag on the play. He has to wave other buses around us as everyone fought for their lives. Smell lingered for about 2 minutes then dissipated. To this day, 13 years later, it's still known as the bus fart. Someone in my older brother's class stuck a matchbook on my brother's back right above his belt and lit it on fire as a prank. I guess my brother got a pretty serious burn at the base of his back about the size of an apple. He didn't tell anyone about it because he wasn't a snitch, but as he was getting ready for practice after school in the locker room, his coach saw it and assumed my brother was being abused. And my brother not admitting how it happened made everyone at the school assume the worst. My parents got called in, and when the teachers threatened to call the police on my dad, my brother finally told them what happened. The kid who did it was going to get expelled for, setting someone on fire. But my dad was an education is the most important thing in the world kind of guy and went to bat for the kid. I think the kid ended up with 3 years of detention, but he did get to stay in the school. I once saw a guy get circumcised by a towel. We were bored one day, and I started tapping on the lockers rhythmically. Then another person stares stomping. It ended with all of us making a sick beat, and us chanting something. It was a bonding moment for us guys. In basic training, we were all in the showers after a particularly brutal day in 100+ degree heat. We were told that showers weren't supposed to last longer than 2 minutes, or about as long as it took to sing the national anthem. I started singing it to myself, and then the goofy dude next to me started harmonizing. Before the end of the third line, all 40-something of us were belting it out while standing at attention, stark naked in the showers. Someone stole someone's shoe, then threw it through the ceiling, left a hole. I saw 2 of my classmates sword fight with her, until one of them hit the other so hard he had to stop because his hurt. I once skinned my leg in an argument over what a dropkick is with another kid. There are women of Reddit right now thinking, why did they have swords in the locker rooms? We all got handed Bibles one day for whatever reason, just before P, so they got set on fire and a flaming Dodge Bible fight was had. When I was in school, a lot of boys either kept their locks unlocked or set their combinations after changing so that they didn't have to deal with it after class. This setup may seem smart up until someone had decided to take all of these open locks to then latch them onto the air duct. This went on for days until there was an occurrence of 25 boys huddling around the door of the air duct trying to figure out which lock was theirs since all of them looked the same. The kid was caught and had to clean up the locker room as punishment, which was a surprising reaction from the school since that could have been suspension. In high school we used to have this one guy that did a victory lap around the locker room after practice or after we won. This involves him getting naked and high-stepping a couple laps around the locker room so his junk was flopping all over the place. We for some reason cheered and yelled while this was going on. Good times. Kids just loved throwing things over the rows of lockers to hit random people in other rows. Usually it was just people's shoes or like stabbed axe cans. But one day in middle school someone threw one of those milk cartons you can get at lunch over, and that became a thing. There was a cabbage in there randomly, so people started kicking it around. We were getting ready after aquatics class and this one macho guy asked everyone to rank each other on cuteness. Everybody surprisingly went along with it and began debating. It was the most wholesome exchange amongst soaked, almost naked teenagers anybody can ever witness. L ended up being ranked in the top 5 out of 26, was pretty cool. Dropped out the bottom of my shorts as I tried to do up my laces. Got bullied about having a small. Every sports lesson after that. Funnily enough, as we were waiting in the changing rooms for a mate to get changed, his slipped out of his underwear. Dude was hung. This scrawny ginger kid had a huge. You can be sure as hell we let people know. Not sure if we did him a favor or not. Some classmates had a game called Blind Man's, which included someone standing in the center of the room and being humped by another guy, and they had to guess who had humped them. After swimming pool, we made a free fight, with everyone naked with no rules. Anyone knocked out or who lays on the ground for over 3 seconds is disqualified. I ended up third after being hit by a bench, so I can relate to every Locker room meme that has been posted, but I still don't know why we decided to do it naked and why we all agreed to it. Messing around in the locker room, one of my teammates was pretending to try and stab me with his keys because we found out the girl he had a crush on liked me. Guys play fight a lot. I was holding his keys back by the keychain when it snapped, and before either of us could react he actually stabbed me in the face with his keys. Went right through my cheek but surprisingly didn't hurt. I didn't realize how bad it was until I opened my mouth to ask why he was looking at me like that, and blood poured out of my mouth. Went home. Put a butterfly bandage on it. Went for a run with him the next day like nothing happened. It left a small scar but it's covered by my beard now, so not a big deal.